Welcome in to Hold My Banner. Travis Thomas here with the walking, talking triple-double himself. Balled out in Inglewood. Balled out at Fresno State. Balled out at UTEP. Ountae Campbell, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, 2Ts. I'm excited because we got more playoff basketball. There's been a lot of great games. Even that game last night was a great game to watch. You know, and I'm feeling good because I've been right, but we'll talk about that in a second.
You should be feeling good. You're right. We have a ton of playoff basketball we've been watching, East and West. However, without the Celtics, it just don't hit the same.
You're right.
Am I a hater for that?
No, you're right.
It just don't hit the same.
You're right. Yeah, you know, I think also we're not watching classic arenas, you know what I'm saying? MSG.
Well, Madison Square, but that's it.
But, like, really, have we seen them in the finals in a while?
No, but it is a classic arena.
Yes.
But to your point, even though I like the Pacers home court, like it's not some mythical.
And the Thunder have a good home court advantage too, and so do the Timberwolves.
But it's not mythical.
Right, exactly.
It's not TD Garden.
Yes.
Let's start with TD Garden with Jaylen Brown because there's some troubling quotes I have from this Celtics blog article. Quote, right now, I'm decompressing emotionally, he said, and then in a week or so, I'll pick up the pieces, see what direction, listen to this, Ountae, see what the direction is for myself, my health, and the organization. Whatever the outcome is, I'm excited, end quote. I'm a little concerned with, okay, I get emotional and mental decompression, right? I mean, I'm sure Ountae goes home every day after dealing with me all day and needs some time. I get it,
100%.
Okay? My wife would agree with you. But at the same time, like, all right, so take a couple days off, bro. Like, you've already been bounced from the playoff for a minute.
Yeah.
You haven't had this. I remember reading this and thinking, he hasn't had the surgery yet? Why not?
Right.
Emotional, I need to decompress. Pick up the pieces, see what the direction is for myself, my health, and the organization. That's the part that jumped out to me. Is this do you think, conversation of Jaylen Brown and the Celtics figuring out what next season looks like? In other words, don't rush the surgery yet, because I'm not saying Brad Stevens would say this specifically, but we're punting next season, and we're going to tank. Like, next season's a wash for us while we wait for Tatum. You can take your time, get your surgery, get healthy, come back later, if at all, at this point. And then the following season, we'll pick up the pieces. The organization part of this quote jumped out to me. Did it jump out to you? Because it almost feels like Jaylen Brown's on Jaylen Brown's page, but not necessarily the Celtics page, and vice versa yet. And that quote tells me they haven't really chopped it up and figured out the plan for next season.
Right, yeah, I think that's exactly what he was saying, that they haven't figured out what's going to happen for the team next season. I'm not necessarily saying that the team is saying punt on the season, because they've come out and said they're not trading Jaylen Brown, or at least reportedly said that they're not going to trade him, not going to trade Derek White. Obviously, we know Jason Tatum is still going to be on the team next year because, you know, he's that guy. I think this was more or less him saying, like, this team, where we're at, I want to be able to help the Celtics have the best bargaining chips going into this offseason. You know what I'm saying? Because if you know Jaylen Brown's out through December, because he gets knee surgery and it takes about 6 months to repair and heal and get back to himself from that. And you know Jason Tatum is out until at least February, May, you know what I'm saying?
Probably playoffs, if that.
You know, May, whatever. So
if that,
right? If he plays at all next season, you know, guys might say, okay, the Celtics are desperate to get off some of this cap. We don't want to help them as much because they know they're not going to be bad. I mean, they're not going to be good, so they don't want to, you know, be over the second apron or even over the first one if they know they're going to miss their 2 stars for the entire season or most of the season next year. So it might be one of those things where they're saying, look, you're going to miss time. We're okay with you missing time, but let's just wait so that you can kind of match up and miss the rest, maybe miss most of or the rest of next season as well. And then we'll already have everybody who we're going to have on the team, and then they'll just have to deal with us being bad next year.
And and at that, for your timeline, we can reevaluate then if it's worth you and Tatum even coming back, quite frankly. So in a way, that's kind of punting in a way without saying it, right? You and Tatum take time, get healthy. we're going to be what we're going to be.
Right.
Well, what do you think they're going to be? I mean, we're going to get into this of trades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But most of us, I'm speaking for all of us, right? Feel like Jrue Holiday's likely gone. Porzingis is likely gone. Like, we already
Sam
know
Hauser.
So we already know this championship nucleus is not going to be together.
Yes.
Man,
I think what you're not thinking about too is like Jaylen Brown has done a lot of great things for this organization, right? He's a Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP,
in the community,
a champion in the community. You know, even just did his event where we got this quote from,
right?
You know, in the community, right down the street from TD Garden, and everything like that. So he's always been a very Boston guy since he's got here.
Yes,
right?
he has.
So he deserves respect.
Yeah.
And he went through a lot. He talked about that, right?
Yeah,
he said he went through a lot mentally. He dealt with the fact that USA Basketball didn't want him to be there with his friends and his brothers, you know what I mean, to go win gold. He dealt with the fact that he was, you know, dealing with a breakup, you know, that we haven't really talked about, but, you know, was kind of a public breakup. Public breakup.
Here's a quote right here. For now, it's just rest and recovery. I'm taking a step back from a long season. Mentally, it was a lot of stuff going on.
Right. And so he had to deal with all of that and then just trying to fight back. And, you know, everyone was still doubting him. Like, oh, you won Finals MVP, but this is Tatum's team. This is that.
That's right.
Blah, 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 whatever. You're not that good. He was just being told all last summer how he wasn't that good in his personal life, which, you know, is whatever. That's how it is when you're going through a breakup. Sure. I'm not saying anything about him. I'm just saying that's how you feel, right, when you go through something personal like that, right? And then on the court being told that he's not good enough by NBA fans and Team USA Basketball and Nike and all this other stuff. Yeah. So now it's like a time for him to rest, relax, and get back to the player that he wants to be. So it's good for him to take this time and figure out what he wants to do instead of going through physical training and all this stuff that you have to go through in surgery and getting under the knife and hurting and ailing and all this other stuff. He can take time, relax, vacation. He was obviously in Boston this weekend. He hasn't really left and had an opportunity to, you know, just be Jaylen Brown. You have to keep that in mind.
This is why I love you on this show, because you'll give us a player perspective. Oh, I call you the walking, talking triple-double. You didn't play in the NBA, but you played everywhere else. You played at every other level. And my question to you, and I'm glad you sort of went there, because if I have a hurt knee that I've played through injury all year, I want to get it cleaned up and fixed immediately, but I'm not an athlete.
Right.
Hearing you talk, it almost feels like, why would you want to get it fixed? Because of the strenuous nature of recovering after. So you almost push it off. Because in a way, you correct me if I'm wrong, in a way what I hear is, I've already played on this damn thing anyways. What difference does it make to push it back a couple weeks, enjoy myself, and then start that process? Is that fair?
It is fair.
Okay.
Because it's hard. Yeah, I mean, people that think about recovery as like easy and you're just taking time and you're, you know, just letting it heal. But no, it's active. You're working. You
got to build it back.
You're building up the muscles around that, you know, that injury and everything like that. He's building up his calves. He's building up his Achilles.
Right.
You know, which they're definitely going to be worried about, you know, when you're going through a knee surgery. Anything in the legs, he's going to be building up his core, his back, his everything. You know what I mean? So walking is a tough activity. I know we all take it for granted, but like it's not easy. So for him to be able to go through that physical training, it's going to take a lot of mental fortitude, and he's played a lot of basketball recently, you know what I'm saying? So it's time for him to take some rest.
I also feel like he's the kind of guy that trains so hard in the offseason. You remember us, we talked about it right here on Hold My Banner. He's underwater with weights jumping. That's not normal human behavior. He is from another planet. So obviously a guy who trains like that, his recovery is even more intricate.
Exactly, and I even know the people he trains with. Shout out Dashletics, but you know they put in a good regimen of work for you in the off season. So and they have a really good, you know, tailored workout just for Jaylen Brown, and he puts in the work, and that's why we saw the improvements that we did see throughout the playoffs last year and throughout this season, because he's been putting in that work.
What was that name? Dashletics?
Yes, sir.
Dashletics, please come on, Hold My Banner. Chop it up with me and Tay. Let's talk about training, not only Jaylen Brown, but your other clients as well. We love hoopers here and athletes. So if you have other athletes, Dash Athletics, we ask you to come on Hold My Banner. All right, now let's get into the trades. Now, Ountae, in addition to being the walking, talking triple-double, my man is a studious producer. These sheets are trade scenarios. Are these scenarios you're seeing on the net and you're just collecting like Infinity Stones? Okay. Let's run through these, and then we'll give our take.
All right, starting out with the first one.
Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis to the Warriors. What? Celtics would receive Moody, Heald, Tracy, Jackson Davis, Santos.
Jackson Davis, yep.
How do you feel about this? I don't like this. But I know Porzingis has to go. So I like some of these I'm going to be at peace with knowing he will be traded.
Yeah.
I don't like this one. I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, I'm not really in love with this one just because getting back Trace Jackson Davis as the big in this package, it doesn't give them the spacing that the Celtics have thrived off of with KP. When I'm getting rid of KP and, you can say, okay, maybe in a Jrue Holiday deal you get something back that's like, an elite shooter, but I'm thinking about a guy who shot 42% from three this year, and we used to talk about it. He's catch and shoot from 35 every time.
Automatic.
Like, he's not thinking about it.
Nope.
It's automatic, and when he's on, which he wasn't in the playoffs, it's impossible to stop that Celtics team.
Defense, too.
Right.
His defensive prowess made a huge difference on this team.
100%. And I think TJG has a lot of that defensive prowess, too. But I just don't see them using Moses Moody to his best ability still. I think Buddy Hield can do a lot of great things for the offensive end, but I don't think he fits in with the defensive impact, you know what I mean, that fits in that Celtics dynamic. And Gui Santos, he's a good player as well, but, I'm not looking for a project out of the two guys at the end of that list. Buddy Hield and Moses Moody would be some good returns for him.
Yes.
But I don't even think the Warriors would accept this, honestly.
I don't either, because you can't count on Porzingis, we know, in terms of health. I'm all for getting back some serviceable players for Kristaps Porzingis. What I didn't see in this that I need to see when it comes to him, and really all these players we're going to talk about, I need some draft picks too.
Yes.
I need some draft picks. We don't have to go crazy, but I'm going to need, instead of project players, I would rather have serviceable player or two and a draft pick. Give me my own project to pick.
Right.
Don't give me your project that you couldn't figure. You with me? That you couldn't figure out. Don't offload that on me.
Exactly.
You keep them projects.
Yes.
Give me a serviceable guy like a Heald, and then a draft pick, and then maybe I'm warmed up to it. This one in particular, I didn't love.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Jrue Holiday.
Okay.
So there's a lot of rumors about Jrue Holiday to the Mavericks, and the Mavericks are looking at point guards. Jrue Holiday is one of them. Chris Paul is another one. Lonzo Ball, another one. So the Mavericks, we know, shopping for a point guard, obviously. So this one, Jrue Holiday to the Mavs. Celtics would receive Daniel Gafford, who I covered in D.C., P.J. Washington. I actually don't hate this one.
Yeah.
Gafford is an athletic big who never could put it all together.
Yeah.
I remember in Washington, there were games he would go off. So go off for him's relative.
Yeah.
I don't know, 15, 17 points. Grab 8 boards, big shot block guy.
Yes.
So he'd give you that, and you'd think, oh, Daniel Gafford, the Wizards have found something.
Right.
Now, the Wizards are the Wizards, but also he was inconsistent. And now you've seen him bounce around the league a little bit.
Right.
I do like him. He is an athletic big. I think the Celtics need to get better there, get more athletic bigs. P.J. Washington is another tough guy, big.
Yeah.
Can hit a three. He ain't Celtics three, but he can hit a three.
He's good in the corners.
Am I wrong? You need one more piece.
Yeah.
A draft pick? I don't know.
I think we're
sweeten it a little.
I think we're being greedy. I think, being here in Boston, we expect championship-ready pedigree players. Last time they made a trade, you know what I mean? They got a Jrue Holiday, they got a KP. Right. These dudes are ready to win already. I kind of like this deal, honestly.
I do too.
And the reason that I like this deal is because when I think about a post-Tatum recovery, post-JB recovery, when you tell me I'm going to have Derek White, JB, JT, Daniel Gafford, and P.J. Washington.
That's what I'm saying.
I love the switchability of that team.
Me too.
Offensively, not as great as the starting lineup that we had that won a championship in 2024.
That's a reality.
Defensively, this team is scary.
It is. It is a defensive team. And again, going back, athletic bigs are important to me. Maybe we are greedy because I want one more something in there. It could be a late draft pick.
Yeah.
All right, Jaylen Brown to the Magic. Now this one is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonathan Isaac, Anthony Black, Mo Wagner, picks out the yin yang. First rounder in 2028, first rounder in 2030. I don't hate this one, but if I'm trading Jaylen Brown, I have a different idea. More on that in a minute. But this feels a little, I don't know, it kind of feels fair. You're not getting back equal value, but you're probably not going to get equal value unless I give you my trade in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about as close as it's going to get around this league.
Look, I'm not going to waste too
It
much.
is.
I'm not going to waste too much of your time on this.
You're going to rip this apart.
I hate this.
You hate it?
I hate this.
This isn't a hateable trade.
No, I hate this.
Why?
Well, I'm. You know how I am. I'm not in the camp of trading JB at all.
I get
for
that.
anything.
This is just hypothetical.
And I'm not trading JB to get back multiple pick depth players. The Celtics have depth. That's not the issue. I don't think any of these one guys, because you can only play one guy at a time.
You can only play one.
Are going to bring
like Anthony
what
Black.
JB brings to the game. You know what I'm saying?
You're not.
And so top one protected, okay, whatever. With the Magic, I mean, this pick is never going to be anything. 2028, 2030 with JB and Franz and what you call it, and Paolo. That team is going to be good in 28, 20, and 30. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So I'm not worried about those picks. They're not going to be worth anything. It's going to be like the picks that we have right now in Boston.
Okay, well, stay with me then. If we trade Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
I know you don't want to go there, but hear me out.
I'm listening.
If we trade Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Can we go straight up for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Whew. Hello? Is this thing on? Are we live? Can we trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Yes or no?
I mean, okay, this is in fantasy land because both of these teams are both over the second apron. So, it's going to be hard to make this trade unless you got a 5, 6, 7 team deal.
Or a new owner with deep pockets. Or a new owner with deep pockets.
The NBA is not even going to allow it. It's not even allowed under the second apron. Yeah, it's not even allowed.
They're like, we can't do this.
But in the fantasy land, if you're going to force me to make a trade or make me think about this trade, of course.
Okay.
I would take Giannis.
That's where I go.
Over JB. Sorry, Jaylen.
Bro, look how uncomfortable you just, it hurts you to say it.
All right, let me give you my potential trade that I like, okay?
All right.
This is a potential trade that I saw floating around a little bit, and I really like it. KP.
Okay.
And Peyton Pritchard, which people are going to get mad at me already.
You done started fights.
Yeah.
You done
To
started.
the Pelicans.
And
we take back Kelly Olynyk.
Hell no.
Who's on the expiring deal for next year.
I don't care.
Herb Jones.
Who?
And a 2028 first round pick. I made it top 5 protected.
Because they were going to stink.
Yes.
I hate it. It's not enough.
I'm just telling you.
Olynyk, been there, done that. Have the T-shirt, not interested.
Okay, I hear you.
Jones.
Come on, we're talking about a guy who the last full season that he played.
I don't hate him.
A DPOY, finished 5th in DPOY rating.
I don't hate him.
And he was an All-NBA first team defensive guy.
Yeah.
Shoots a clip, 42%. Shoots a clip.
And you get a first rounder.
And
Olynyk is a big.
And he's an expiring deal. We're punting on next year anyways.
You're talking me into
You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to give up Pritchard.
I hear you, though. But 6th man of the year versus Herb Jones, we saw with Pritchard, we saw his limitations.
He got exposed.
We saw his limitations this playoff series. I love Peyton Pritchard. He does a lot of great stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
But we're talking about getting rid of a contract that we don't want anymore, having an expiring guy. Kelly Olynyk can do some good things next year, be decent enough, you know what I mean, to be competitive next year if they need to.
Sure.
Right? And then with Tatum coming back the next year.
Yeah.
Come on,
I at least see the vision.
Come on.
You saw my vision for Giannis. I do see your vision for this. And you see our vision because our GM hats stay on for the next segment.
Yeah.
A couple of these names are beloved Celtics on this list, too. Don't go anywhere. Roll with us. We'll be right back. We're looking at potential free agents, potential trade targets, guys we know that are on the trade market, guys that we know will be free agents. Of course, you have the big names like LeBron James. We believe he's going to stay in L.A. Certainly, if he's on the move, he ain't coming to Boston. So we're not even going to...
At all. At all.
So we're not even going to waste our damn time there. Let's go free agents first since we talk trades.
Yeah.
But we can come back around to trades. Free agency, Al Horford's a free agent.
Yeah.
I mean...
Where do you think he's landing?
I think he's ring chasing, and I think every Celtics fan understands it. All of them. I get it. All of us want him back. Can we work out something financially? Al, I know you're 100 years old, but you still got game. But we're going to stink next year. I just think it's a mutual Thanks for everything. I mean, you can't tell the Al Horford story without the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
Is that as emotional as I can get? That's as hallmark as I can get.
Yeah.
This dude's a Hall of Famer, and you can't tell his story without the Celtics. He's meant so much to the organization. With that being said, go chase rings.
Yeah.
If I'm him, I'm looking at Ime in Houston.
Okay.
I'm looking around at what teams that are close that just need a big to help him get. Now, even at this stage of his career, he's likely coming off the bench. We get it, right?
Yeah.
But who needs I'm calling up Steph.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks like you need me. You know I can shoot. I'm looking at the top teams. I maybe would go out west.
Yeah.
Just out of my respect for the Celtics.
Right.
Like, can you, I hate to do this to everyone, but can you imagine?
No, don't do it.
I know.
Don't do it.
If Al
I thought
Horford,
about it.
because by the way, it'd be a great fit.
I know what
Al
you're talking
Horford
about.
on the Pacers or Al Horford, like we can't have it.
Yeah.
So, and I think he loves the organization enough, and there's enough damn killers out west.
Right.
Contenders, not pretenders that he could go to.
Yeah.
And be like, yo, I can help you get over the hump.
Yeah.
I think he deserves that, and that's where I think we're headed. He could even go to the Lakers. The Lakers could use that.
That's where I thought you were going to go, and I thought about it.
But that's different.
I toyed with it. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Don't do that.
I would rather listen. I hate the Lakers as much as the next person.
You don't do it.
But if Al Horford went to the Lakers, I would not take it as personal as Al Horford going to the damn Knicks or the
but
or
it
the
would be,
Pacers or teams that the Celtics had to deal with.
It would be close. Don't do it, Al. Look, here's my thing. I think he's going to end up being a Boston Celtics Celtic just because he cares so much about this community and he's ingrained it in now. And they've just, like you said, you can't tell the Boston Celtics story without talking about Al Horford. And so I think he's going to end up here back in Boston. But if he doesn't, he's going to be a Denver Nugget.
That makes sense.
He's going to be a Denver Nugget. They're losing DeAndre Jordan, so they're losing their old veteran, blah, presence, whatever. He's on the expiring deal. They could bring him back, but, it looks like he's ready to retire at this point.
It'd be an upgrade to get Horford.
100%.
For them. You know what I mean?
100%.
It'd be an upgrade for
And
them.
they would actually have a big for cheap. They gave Zeke Nnaji that money that they shouldn't have gave him. And they've been regretting it ever since, which is why Calvin Booth got fired.
I could have told them not to do that. That was stupid.
And so now they can get a cheap big that's really serviceable, can do a lot of things,
Champion.
At a lower scale that Jokic can do. He's a great passer, great shot blocker, can shoot the three. He can put the ball on the deck a little bit if you need him to. He can do a lot of those things for them off the bench. I think that's a place that
Before we move on, why do you think Al Horford, forget the financials, if he loves Boston and he loves the Celtics, they'll work the money out. Why do you think this guy would be okay with losing for a year? He doesn't have his timeline's not the same.
You're right. But
as the new look Celtics.
But you also have to remember he's been running around with his kid all year and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're in on Boston. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying it's a family thing. It's a culture thing. It's a respect thing. He loves playing for the Boston Celtics and wearing that green. So I can see him staying.
All right. What about Chris Paul? This is a guy where I was open a couple years ago when he was floating out there for the Celtics to bring him in. Now I want no parts of him. In fact, if I'm Chris Paul, I'm not going anywhere. I'd be like, what do y'all need for me to stay? Because I don't want to leave none of these young boys that the Spurs got.
So there were recent reports that relationship is ending this summer.
Damn.
So, they have the second pick.
They just don't want him.
They're going to end up taking, a point guard.
Yeah.
They're going to take Harper probably with that second pick. So they have him. They have the young guards. They have Harper, Fox.
They don't need him.
Right, exactly. They do need him because they need the maturity, but Fox brings some of that maturity already. So they're going to try and see what they can do. They're going to be in that Giannis sweepstake. So, they're probably looking to get off of him. I'm going to say he's going to end up being the Detroit Piston. I think he comes in, helps that team that had some issues being young. They got older last year, but they made a lot of young mistakes in the playoffs. They're probably going to be losing out on Dennis Schroeder. He's not Dennis Schroeder-esque, but he can bring a lot of that same intensity that Dennis Schroeder brings to a team.
They need a leader, too.
He can be a leader. He can slow them down in moments where they get too sped up. Cade needed somebody else to take the rings in some of those playoff games against the Knicks. I think he could be a guy that can.
Bro, I didn't necessarily have a team in mind other than San Antonio. I love that. I love that. It's rare that I tell you you're right and I agree with you on top of it. James Harden, who is a player option.
Yes.
But it is James Harden we're talking about here. Do you think he'll want to hit the market and see what's out there?
I think he is going to. I think he's going to opt out. I do think he's going to opt out. I do think he ends up being a Clipper again. I think Ballmer is going to open up that pocketbook and give him a longer deal.
Yeah.
Now that he saw him do it without PG there, Kawhi for most of the season was out.
He pretty much did it without Kawhi.
Right. So I think that now that he's seen that, he's going to give him the runway to be the star that we've always known James Harden to be. I personally have been in the camp of blow it up, blow it up, blow it up. I'm still in that camp. The Clippers need to blow up that whole operation if they actually want to win their first NBA championship. But I do believe that James Harden will be a Los Angeles Clipper.
I do too. It's the best fit for him. You're not going to go anywhere and be, built around as some championship player. We've seen enough of that. The Clippers will pay him. He is the man there. I think it makes sense. He's from LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just stay with the Clippers. Jonathan Kuminga. This one's interesting because it doesn't feel like the Warriors have figured out how to utilize him properly. But some of me feels like if they can't figure you out, who the hell can?
Right.
Is that fair?
No.
Or am I being a D to Jonathan Kuminga?
You're being a little mean to Jonathan Kuminga, but I can't lie. Last episode, I called him a dollar store Jaylen Brown or whatever I called him.
Yeah,
so
you did.
I was being rude to him.
But honestly, if Steph and Kerr, who are smart as all get out, can't figure you out, what am I going to do with you?
The thing about it is I just think they treated his development poorly.
Okay.
Honestly, because there was times where he could have been utilized earlier on, but they were rocking with Clay, they were rocking with Draymond when they were giving you nothing on the offensive end, and him and Moses Moody were ready to make contributions, and they didn't give them the opportunity to do so, right?
Yeah.
Even Steve Kerr said it early into his rookie year, like, yo, you could have been a guy who averaged 18 a game in this league on a bad team, but we drafted you, and you're on a good team, so you have to learn how to play a role. It's one of those situations where he's a really good potential player, but
how long
he needs to be. But that's not fair because the Warriors never gave him a full chance, and I understand why. They had Curry, they had Clay, they now have Jimmy Butler. It was too crowded. He never got guys to get out of his way, so we never really got to see the prospect that he fully is. But even with that, he's still a good player. I think he's going to end up with the Bucks or the Nets.
Bucks or the Nets?
The Bucks or the Nets.
They're both basketball hell. Giannis will be gone.
Yeah.
The Nets are already there.
Yeah.
But to your point, he can go there and shine.
Right. And they're teams that are willing to take a chance on the potential because they don't have much outside of Giannis, right? The Bucks don't have
anything.
Really anything besides the old days with Big O and Kareem.
Memories.
The 70s, you know what I'm saying? So they haven't done anything in a long time. And the Nets, they've never done anything, since they lost to the Lakers in the championship.
All right, let's bring this back to the Celtics.
Okay.
Here are two names I don't hate, but there's no money for these guys.
Okay.
So we would need trades galore. The books are opened up to make this happen.
Yeah.
So this is maybe kind of fantasy basketball.
Okay.
I like Miles Turner. Athletic big. He's a free agent.
Okay.
And how many years now? Has it been years? Have we been waiting for Miles Turner to get traded? I swear to God, Ountae, every trade deadline, it feels like 3 or 4 years to me in a row. Miles Turner, he's a big name. Where's Miles Turner? And he never gets moved ever.
Right.
But meanwhile, dude's athletic. He is consistent. I don't think he's some great player, but he ain't a scrub. He's consistently good.
Right.
I get Tobias Harris-ish vibes.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Fair.
Different players, but like kind of that.
He's like one of the best players to never make an All-Star team.
Yes.
He's like in that Jamal Murray category.
But as it pertains to the Celtics, athletic big, fits into the system, not threes, but just I think that three stuff, we should have that conversation quickly here. I think live and die by the three's over.
Yeah.
I really do. I think this new look Celtics, whatever that looks like.
It has to be. They don't have,
Tatum,
they won't have the personnel.
Right.
Probably.
So a Miles Turner could work.
Yeah.
He could mess around and be a cornerstone. It could be Tatum Brown and a Miles Turner.
It could be. I want to hear your second one. He's forever a Pacer. I'll talk about Miles Turner.
Oh, he's coming back.
Yeah, he's going back.
Well, they would be smart to do that.
They keep toying with it.
All right, here's the other one, and you may want to test what I'm drinking. Josh Giddey. Now, hear me out.
Huh?
Okay? Hear me out.
Make this quick.
I think he's a younger, cheaper replacement for Jrue Holiday. Kid's in his prime. Not the best kid off the court, but another topic for another podcast. Hey, Josh Giddey could come in here. Again, the financials, I get it. But Josh Giddey would work here. No?
No, I don't want another ball-dominant guard who can't really shoot like that. I'm good.
Well, again, we just said the style's going to change. We're not living in 3, dying by the 3.
I'm good.
You're out? He can defend, too.
I'm out. Let's talk about these trades.
Bro, you wouldn't even entertain it.
Yeah,
you entertain Miles Turner.
No, I'm not even entertaining.
I apologize for suggesting Josh Giddey to the Celtics.
Yeah, the Celtics Nation, he really needs to apologize.
My bad.
Trade targets. Let's talk about KP. I think that KP would be a good trade, swap out situation for the Pacers if they had to sign and trade, because obviously
for Miles Turner.
Miles Turner.
I'll take it.
Because Miles Turner financially wouldn't make sense for the Celtics to sign him as a free agent.
Sure.
That wouldn't work out. But in some type of sign and trade deal, swap them out. They get their similar big that does the same thing. Maybe Miles Turner's like, yeah, I want to be with the Celtics now. I'm over trying to try it with the Pacers.
Well, they may not want to pay him either. Pacers, I'm saying. They may not want to pay Miles.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, in that scenario, they would be paying KP $30 million. So, I mean.
Well, it would be cheaper than Miles Turner, though.
Yeah.
It would be not much cheaper, but a cheaper alternative.
Possibly.
Possibly.
And we'll have to see, like I said, it'll have to be a mega deal or something like
Where's
that.
Where's Giannis going? That's what I need.
Okay, wait, but KP's going to the Bulls. Speaking of Josh Giddey.
I thought you said Pacers.
No. I'm just saying, if in your scenario where he's going to where Miles Turner is becoming a Celtic.
Okay.
Then obviously KP going to.
But you like KP to the Bulls.
But I think KP's going to the Bulls. I think they like to take swings on bigs like that, foreign bigs.
They do.
Shooters, athletic. They had the Lauri Markkanen days.
Yeah.
They had the Vucevic days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they had those kind of bigs. I think they would take a swing on him to see if they could be healthy. Once again, they haven't been anything since Michael Jordan, since I was born.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's been forever since they've been a real championship winning team. Obviously, the D-Rose days, I want to forget about those. But yeah, we can talk about Giannis. Giannis.
I think he's going to Houston. I'm convinced.
He's going to Texas.
Don't you say the Spurs.
He's going to San Antonio, dog.
Ready.
He's going to San Antonio.
Bro, how did they become this if that happens, how overnight did the Spurs become the dream team? Like, it's unbelievable.
He's going to San Antonio.
Then they're going to have to give up somebody.
Yeah, but that's fine. He's going to San Antonio.
Bro, they can't have all them. That ain't who I'm talking about. I'm saying, like, killers. They're not giving up Wemby. Everyone relax.
Fox is there, and Castle is staying, too.
I don't know. Castle might have to go.
They might give up the second pick and say bye.
Second pick? What do you mean, might? Second pick's gone.
Okay.
Castle might be gone.
No, he's not gone.
Then this is not fair. The NBA should intervene.
No.
You can't let the Spurs do this. This is ridiculous.
He can do whatever he wants.
I think he should go to Houston. I don't know what the deal looks like because they don't have as much as the Spurs do to give up.
Right. No, they don't. They're over the cap, too.
You know what? If we're just talking draft capital, the Thunder actually have the most. What if the Thunder land this guy for every draft pick for the next ever?
It could be possible. And then pairing him up with a Chet.
I ain't watching that.
And then bringing Hartenstein off the bench.
It's going to be you and Toby doing Hold My Banner because I ain't going to be here. I'm telling you right now, if the Thunder or the Spurs get Giannis, I ain't coming to work.
Hey, bro, you might have to watch that.
Kevin Durant and LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, so LaMelo's staying with the Hornets. I won't even waste too much time
Agreed.
with that. He's going to be right there. I mean, everyone's talking about potential trade.
Clippers.
No, that's not
from L.A.
They're going to draft VJ Edgecombe and slide him, in that guard spot that's right between LaMelo and Brandon Miller.
All right.
And just try that out for the next year, and they'll be bad. They'll be terrible.
Yeah, they're never going to be good.
That's what they're going to do. Kevin Durant, this is the intriguing one. You said a Texas team. I'm going to throw out another Texas team. Yeah, the Houston Rockets.
Rockets make sense for him,
where
too.
He's going.
That feels like a backup plan to not getting Giannis to me, which is crazy that Kevin Durant's a backup plan ever in a sentence.
Yes.
But at this stage of his career, it's fine. He's a backup plan. If the Rockets nor the Spurs, maybe he's in play there too, can't get a Giannis, Kevin Durant makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
You agree with both. So the Spurs could end up with him too.
Yeah, either way.
Gosh, that's scary.
I think the Spurs are getting somebody. They have assets.
Leaving with something.
They got the young talent. They got draft picks. They got Wemby. Everybody wants to play with him. You know what I'm saying? You got Pop still watching over the team. You know what I mean? Shout out to Popovich. Hope he's doing well.
I think he is.
You know,
front office now.
You know, I would want to play for the Spurs, man. Y'all need a point guard.
Your eligibility is over. Okay, relax. Coming up here on Hold My Banner. Hey, the Thunder took a commanding 3-1 lead over the Timberwolves. We'll break it down next. Hold My Banner. Roll with us. Welcome back to Hold My Banner. Okay, Tay, I was wrong. I thought the Minnesota Timberwolves were going to win this whole shebang-a-bang. I am here to say right now, definitively, this is over. 3-1 series lead for the Thunder. I mean, there was that one game where they got thumped, but for the most part, they have held it down. This was a 128-126er. And by the way, Anthony Edwards, 16 points, 5 of 13 shooting from the floor, 1 of 7 from 3. Another clunker. He has had several clunkers throughout this playoff run. After the game, Ant spoke about his game 4 struggles, and I didn't like this either, Ountae. Take a listen.
I don't look at it like I struggled or he struggled. They had a good game plan, making us get off the ball. Especially for me, man, they was super in the gaps. I made the right play all night, so I don't really look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled, so that might be how you guys look at it. But yeah, I didn't struggle at all. I made the right play.
I hate the body language.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I ain't getting enough shots. I hate the blame game. Oh, well, how can I struggle? I didn't get. Bro, you were 5 of 13, 1 of 7. You wanted more shots. Cool. You weren't making anything. Even with more, you weren't making.
Yeah.
I hated this soundbite so much. I don't like what I've seen. I have flip-flopped more times than flip-flops on the damn Timberwolves, and I am out.
I'm glad you know that you flip-flopped.
I have.
Because I've told you every step of the way what was going to happen with this Thunder team. I told you from the beginning, since the season started, that this Thunder team was making it out of the West, and it was theirs to lose. Theirs to lose, as long as they stay healthy, and they were going to win.
Okay.
And you were, Ant.
I don't talk like that.
He's the boogeyman. He's finna do this. He's finna do that. And I said, Thunder and 6. Thunder and 6. And you looked at me like I was crazy.
Well, you were wrong. It's going to be Thunder and 5.
Yeah, even less. Great. And here's the thing here's the thing that I told you that I was worried about with Anthony Edwards in this series was he has never shown us, to this point, the ability to take over a series.
Right.
He had the ability to take over games.
Yes.
And we've seen big games when they won game 3.
Yes.
Big game out of him.
Yes.
But series, when are we going to get the series out of you when you average 35 a game and you say, hey, this is my job to do? Is he wrong? He's not wrong. He didn't. I don't think he played poorly.
He's wrong to say it.
He's wrong to say it.
He's wrong to say it.
He's wrong to say it. I don't think he played poorly. I think he did make the right decisions. They were collapsing in gaps. They were making it hard on him to get to his spots and make the shots that he wants to make. But that's the thing about good teams. They're going to make adjustments.
They are.
You guys made an adjustment in Game 3 and made it hard on SGA. And guess what? He came out in Game 4 and he made an adjustment.
40 points for him, which is expected. But here's where they lost me. How do you let Jalen Williams, who I do like?
Yes.
I do like him.
Yes.
You go for 34 points. You're not winning that game.
Right.
SGA is doing what he does.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Right.
That's what killed that. To me, that was actually the bigger story in the game.
I mean, it definitely
Williams went off.
And he's been going off in a couple of these playoff games lately. I mean, we're talking about a third-team All-NBA guy, a first-team All-Defense guy.
But you can't let that dude beat you.
Yeah, he's good.
But
he's a great player, he's doing it. And it goes back to what I said with Anthony Edwards. You have to take over games. You have to Don't get me wrong. It's nice to be a good teammate and make the extra pass and do some of those things. But sometimes you got to be the dog. And he's 23 years old. I'll never forget to mention that. He's young.
He's young.
He has runway. He will get this done. We've listed off the laundry list of stars that he's crossed off the list, like Santa. You know what I'm saying? He's come in, and we giving him the praise because he's a great player.
Yeah,
he is. But that's the thing. When you are a great player, and when you're looking to be the face of the league, and when you're going to get scrutinized.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. It's scrutiny. It's minute. He's a great player, and he's done great things, and they wouldn't have gotten to this moment without him. But if you want to be a champion,
facts,
like Jordan, like Kobe, like D. Wade, the great guards that were ahead of you, they went over and took over series.
Yeah, they did.
Not games.
That's well said. said, and Anthony Edwards is still putting it together. He is young, like you're right. There's time to figure that out. But right now, they are finished. And I want to go on a little rant here. I didn't start my timer, Tay, so don't let me go in a commercial break. But I owe an apology to the OKC Thunder, too.
Yeah, you do.
Because every step along the way, going back to last season, now I happened to be right last season, but when they were the youngest 1 seed ever, I bet against them. I was like, they're too young, okay? They did get bounced eventually.
Yeah,
but,
second round, I believe.
Yes, second round, I think it was. But this season, I did it again, and that was my mistake. I thought they're still too young. I don't know. It's probably a year ahead of schedule, maybe. I knew SGA was going to be fantastic. He was last year. I'm not shocked by his MVP. But the team to take the ascension that they have and be this dominant is crazy to me. And now, going back to, probably the Warriors dynasty, pretty much every champion since, in my head, I've made this could be a potential dynasty.
Right.
And it's been wrong every step of the way, from Jokic to the Celtics to you name it. I now think, which is why I'm apologizing, if the Thunder get this done, Ountae, which it looks like they could, they're going to win this series. And if they win the finals, which you predicted they would, this could be the damn dynasty because they're so young. They have draft picks out the yin-yang forever. I mean, they have young players. We were just talking in break. There's young players on their bench who can't even get time, who are good, that they're developing. Tay, this could be the dynasty, and I never saw it coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. This definitely could have a runway. If they get a Giannis Antetokounmpo, this could be one of those things where they definitely are building a dynasty 100%.
Right.
This team is a really special team, and they have an opportunity here to go win the finals. I think this series is over, right? Like you said, in 5 in OKC. I think they're going to walk away with this one. The Timberwolves, if they have a chance, if they have even a smidget of a chance, then they have to be able to say Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle went off in Game 5 and willed them to take it back to Minnesota.
That's not going to happen. Do you think?
No.
Me either. This series is over. I think they're going to win. We'll break down the East when we come back, but I do think the Thunder will get it done ultimately. I just want to lay out the timeline, if I have time, of how many times I flip-flopped. Okay, let's start.
Go ahead, dog.
Where did it start? Did it start with our bet?
Yes.
It started with the bet. Okay. So, first of all, you must understand, I was in an emotional state of mind because the Rockets, I thought, were going to go on a deep run, but Steph Curry ended it. So I wanted to preface this timeline with where I was emotionally, okay? So, Steph Curry and the Warriors are now taking on the Timberwolves, and I got to talking cocky. I told them they're going to beat them, and no problem. And Tay said, no, they're not. I said, yeah, they are. They're going to beat them. Well, let's bet. So we did bet right here on Hold My Banner. Push-ups and I think some food.
Yes.
Steph got hurt 5 minutes later, and I said, the bet's off. Okay, so there's that timeline. Not only did I say the bet was off, I said the Timberwolves would win this series. I believe you said I called him the boogeyman. Anthony Edwards is a boogeyman. He's a new guy. They're going to the finals and winning it. Then I picked them to win it. I took back our bet, called that off, and then picked the team I bet against to win the whole thing. Now they're down 3-1, flip-flopping again.
Man, whatever. Let's just talk about the East.
Oh, I can go to break then?
Yes.
Okay, here on Hold My Banner when we come back. Welcome back to Hold My Banner. All right, Tay, let's go to the East side where the Pacers have a 2-1 series lead over the Knicks.
Yeah,
what are you thinking tonight, my friend?
Look, here's what I'm thinking for this series as a whole, bro. It's over.
It's over?
It's over.
Dog, it's 2-1.
It's over.
How?
The Knicks have never, ever come back down 0-2 in their history. And I'm gonna bet on Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony.
After
Bodega,
all that.
Bodega Cat to will them to their first ever.
He played great.
0-2 comeback?
He played great in Game 3.
Nah, look, this is what the Pacers have to say about the game tonight. Looking to take a 3-1 lead.
Ooh.
Back to NYC.
That's real cocky.
They're talking real spicy.
They spicy.
And I feel the spiciness. Look, Hallie's dad is back in the building.
Clearly, he tweeted that. That was, he put that together.
Hallie's dad is back in the building. Look, you want to see the tweet? Here it is, free
Lord
Pops.
Have mercy, free Pops.
Pops free. Hallie's dad, John Halliburton, allowed to attend Pacers games, home games, in a suite starting on Game 4 tonight per Shams.
I ain't gonna hold you. Pops is lucky he's conscious, because I'm telling you right now, if Giannis had taken that personal, man, listen to me. Listen to me. You wouldn't have to be worried about no more games ever. Luckily, Giannis was the bigger guy, literally and figuratively.
Yes.
So I'm happy for Pops. Now just relax, okay? Act like you've been there before, Dad. Usually, my dad says that to me, like, Travis, you know, we're going to a nice establishment. Act like, okay, you're the dad, and you don't know how to act, so hopefully you get yourself together. As far as the series, I couldn't disagree more. Although, I do agree the Pacers win the series.
Okay.
But I don't think it's over.
It's
not over. This honestly,
It's going how much?
this
longer
feels like a 7. It feels like a 7. I actually believe in Bodega Cat.
You do.
Yeah, his whole career, he hasn't been consistently great.
Yeah.
No one can argue that. I think he would tell you that. But he's playing really well, and he's played well in these playoffs. I actually think the Knicks can do what the Knicks do and really muck this up, make it a rock fight. I actually think those first 2 games, they were playing too much like the Pacers. It was up and down. It was back and forth. That ain't how y'all play.
Right.
They should have taken the Knicks, I'm talking about, they should have taken a page how they beat the Celtics and kept that same energy in this series against the Pacers.
Right.
All of a sudden, they get to the Pacers series, they're running up and down. I'm like, that ain't what y'all do. I think the difference in the series has been Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
He has coached circles around Tibbs. He has made the adjustment.
Yeah.
I mean, he has attacked. He's attacked Cat and Brunson on the defensive end that get him in foul trouble. I'm watching this series. I'm like, why didn't Mazzulla do any of this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally watching the Pacers strategically take apart the Knicks. I'm like, look how easy that looks.
Right.
Imagine adjustments on the fly. Imagine going at Brunson defensively, trying to get him in foul
Right.
trouble. This is all the stuff that the Celtics could have did. I think this goes 7. I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks win tonight.
Here's my thing. This is what I told you going into this series once again. This Pacers team has had to challenge other teams to come out of their body and play out of their comfort zone.
That's what's happening.
They did the same exact thing to the Knicks. The Knicks did not have to do that against the Pistons or the Celtics
Right.
because the Pistons were a young team and the Celtics, as we've laid out a million times, are hard-headed. We're doing our role. We're playing our style of play, and we don't care who we are. We're the Celtics. We don't care who we're playing against. The Knicks have not had the opportunity to have to face anybody who's forcing them to not be the Knicks.
Right.
The Pacers have done that.
Yeah.
So I'm in the assumption, in the camp where I'm saying, yeah, Tibbs, can you make the adjustments to win this game again? No, I don't think he can. I think they're going up 3-1 tonight. And then I think they're going into Indiana, and we're going to have a dogfight, a rock fight. The Knicks might escape.
Maybe they win that one, right.
But I always predicted Pacers in 6.
You did.
They're going back to MSG, and they're walking in your trap and taking over your trap.
I hate all these series. Celtics, you have really, I mean, you going to drive me to drinking, Celtics? I've been trying to drink less. I'm drinking more. I got a 3-1 Western Conference final that's over, and you're telling me we finna have a 3-1 Eastern Conference after tonight.
100%. 100%. And guess what? All of Boston is going to be dancing on MSG's grave. I can guarantee I can guarantee you that the streets of Boston is going to be looking like after game 1, the way it looked over here after we lost. Because people finna be swinging with Knicks fans. How happy they finna be that the Pacers are winning this game.
I hate them so much. Also, before we get out of here, did you see this? Paige Bueckers back in Connecticut tonight taking on the Sun. So both teams winless. The Wings and the Sun are winless and wingless.
Yes.
Who wins tonight? I think Paige Bueckers about to get one.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with the Sun, bro.
Yeah.
It is a mess.
I agree with you.
They're a mess.
I think that Paige Bueckers is getting a win here. Just so you know, the Dallas Wings have not won a game in their last 13 going back to last season.
Which is why they had the top pick.
Right, so they're on the 13-game losing streak right now. What I see from them, as a whole recently, because obviously we both think that the Wings and Paige Bueckers are going to get her first win, especially coming back to her, basically her homecoming for Connecticut.
This is a home game for her.
Is that they are just defensively, they're just atrocious.
Bad.
And it's the fact that their transition defense, they're not making shots, which is okay. Like, you have a young guard, you know what I mean, figuring it out. I think Paige needs to lean in more into her facilitating bag, which she's been a great facilitator so far throughout her WNBA career.
Yeah.
But they've been missing a lot of shots, and their transition defense is horrible. Horrible.
Not good.
And so that's what's really been losing them a lot of these close games, is because they're not making shots, and then they can't get back and get stops.
It's like, get back.
I think against this Suns team, they have more talent in this coming into this game. No disrespect to the Connecticut Sun.
No,
I hope that they can get on the on the winning track at some point throughout this season too and find their first win. But I just think the talent level and the aura of being back in their basically home state at this point of Connecticut. I mean, she was winning all day there.
It's a home game for her.
It's going to be an opportunity for Paige to walk out with them.
One thing's for sure, Ountae and I will be in the building, TD Garden. I have the date right here, July 15th. The Sun host, Caitlin Clark. We'll be there for that one. And we're there for you always here on Hold My Banner. Thanks for rolling with us. Till next time when we ask you to hold it again, peace.
Deuces.